Welcome to Casey Thompson in 8 plays. What I'm going to do on this video is I'm going to take a look at Nebraska's newest quarterback, transfer from Texas, Casey Thompson. And I'm going to highlight the type of player he is. Because a lot of Husker fans are probably out there saying, okay, we got Casey Thompson. We got our new transfer quarterback. What is he like? What are we getting from him as a quarterback next year for the 2022 season? So I'm going to go ahead and do that in 8 plays to kind of give you a glimpse, an idea of the type of prospect that Casey Thompson is. All right, one of the things that really stands out to me about Casey Thompson as a quarterback is his ball placement skills. And we're going to see that on this first play against Texas Tech. Texas is in the red zone, and Casey Thompson's going to end up throwing this ball to the slot receiver on the top of the screen for a touchdown. And as he throws this ball, he sees that the defender is beat. His receiver is going to just run kind of to the back of the end zone, and he knows that he's beat. He's got his head turned. He throws with that anticipation, and he puts the ball up for his receiver to go get it. And what I like about this play, and it really encompasses a lot about Casey Thompson as a quarterback, is the fact that he's got good ball placement. He knows that, hey, this defender's beat, his head is turned, I've got a bigger receiver there, and I can just go up and just put the ball for my receiver to go get it. And it's just that ball placement of, when we talk about accuracy, we talk about, where to, ball placement is what I like to say, because he placed the ball right where his receiver only could make that play. This defensive back had no chance on it. His head was turned, he was beat, but it was put in the absolute perfect spot for this touchdown. Another thing that I really like about Thompson in my film study of him is that he's a quick decision maker. He's not going to sit in the pocket and stare and stare and stare and not find people. He's going to be able to diagnose and make that quick decision. And here against Arkansas is a prime example of that. So at the snap, he's looking right. He's not seeing what he likes. He goes to the inside slot receiver, doesn't find it again, and he quickly then checks down to his running back for get the ball out and have him make a play. And it's just this ability to just go through quick, boom, boom, boom. Okay, no one's open. First read's not open. Second read's not open. Let's just check it down. And he's not wasting a lot of time. And we know from last year, Nebraska's offensive line, the longer that they had to block in pass protection, like most offensive lines, the more likely they're going to get beat. And so Casey Thompson, because he's got that ability to quickly go through his progressions, see the field quickly, he's able to get the ball out of his hands fast. This takes 3 seconds for him to get the ball out and go through 3 reads. Thompson also shows the ability, not only in what I like about this play is not only does he show the ability once again to go through his reads, but he shows some good touch. One thing that you need to have as a quarterback that maybe Nebraska's last quarterbacks didn't have the best on was touch. So as we see in this play, Thompson's going to look left, nothing's open. He goes through his progressions, scans the field, and he sees his receiver open, but he's got to throw it over this defender because his receiver is going to be over here. And so what he does is able to throw with touch, get it over that defender's hand, and drop it down into his receiver here for the first down. And he's able just to not only scan that field, but have that touch to kind of place it to the receiver that he wants to and drop it down. And a lot of that is something that Nebraska's been lacking and is going to be needed in Mark Whipple's new offense, is the ability to not only throw with anticipation, but touch. Now, I had just mentioned Casey Thompson's ability to throw with anticipation, and we're going to see that here. He's going to end up throwing the ball to his slot receiver over the middle for a hook and get the first down. And what I like about this play is, if we watch it again, when he's starting to make his throw, he's starting his motion right here. Okay? the ball is starting to come out, and that receiver hasn't even stopped and turned around. And when you play in the Big Ten and you play against some of these teams that have NFL caliber defensive backs, you're not going to be able to wait and see that the receiver's open before you make the play. You have to be able to get that ball out and throw with anticipation. So as soon as that receiver turns around, boom, they're ready to catch the ball. And you see that out of NFL quarterbacks. You see that out of the top quarterbacks in college football. They all have that ability to throw with anticipation. And Casey Thompson shows that here against Texas Tech, and he's shown that throughout his film, that he can make those throws. He can see that, hey, this receiver is going to be open. I've got good timing with him. I know that he's going to turn around here, and that ball's able to come out to him. All right, we see another example of that timing and anticipation here against Rice. Casey Thompson's going to be looking to his right, and he's going to be able to just throw it in, splitting defenders to make this throw. So he once again starts to his left, goes to his right, and that ball is out as the receiver's making his break. And as we can see here, hey, we've got a defender here, defender there, defender there. So he's, it's not like it's a super tight window that he's throwing the ball into, but he's able to then once again place it on a line in between these two defenders and hit his receiver in stride on time to make this catch. And it's the ability to kind of have that timing within the offense, to have that rapport with his receiver, and then be able to just make that throw. Casey Thompson doesn't have a cannon for an arm, but he's got a strong enough arm, and he's got the ability to throw with anticipation that he can make these deeper intermediate throws with touch and timing. All right, and watching Casey Thompson, one of the things that I really noticed about him is he likes to do shoulder fakes. And a lot of times within their offense, they're trying to manipulate the defense, kind of draw them to go one way and the other. But it's one thing to be, that's the part of their scheme, but the quarterback's got to be able to pull it off too. And that's what happens here on this play. Casey Thompson's going to look to his right, and he's going to be looking at his running back to try and draw this cornerback who's kind of starting to drop with the receiver. And so he wants that cornerback to come up to the running back to free up his receiver. And so he's going to do that not only with his eyes, but with a quick shoulder fake. And then once that defender pops in, and then it also draws this linebacker right here as well. And then he's able to make a touch throw to the sideline for his receiver. So we watch it here at full speed, quick little shoulder fake with his eyes, and then he's able to move to his receiver for that catch. And it's all because of the eyes that gets two defenders here at the bottom of the screen to start moving towards that running back, and it leaves his receiver open. So it's one thing, yes, that's part of Texas's scheme. They drew that up that way, but Casey Thompson's got to be the one to go out and perform it. And that's something that I saw in all the tape that I watched of him, is his ability, whether it's looking off receivers, whether it is that shoulder fake. If you get your defender to take a step in the wrong direction, a lot of time that's enough separation that you need to make that pass. Another thing that we need to look at with Casey Thompson is his ability to run. Nebraska under Scott Frost has always had quarterbacks that can move. Adrian Martinez was his ability to run was a big part of the offense. Even Scott Frost, when he was at Oregon and Central Florida, his quarterbacks could run. Now, I wouldn't say that Mackenzie Milton was this dual threat option style quarterback, but he could move on his feet, pick up extra yards and scrambles, do a few design runs. We even saw with Mark Whipple and Kenny Pickett, they would do some design runs. So Casey Thompson, his movement skills are important. So as we see here against Texas Tech, this isn't a design quarterback run, which Casey Thompson had a few of those throughout the season. But this shows, he's scanning the field, no one's open, and he's just going to take off and run. And he's not an elite athlete. He's not Kyler Murray. He's not Lamar Jackson. But He's not Adrian Martinez as a runner, but he's got that ability to move within the pocket, but then also he has enough quickness and enough speed that he can, as a runner, pick up extra yards, pick up that first down when he needs it, and that's what he does here. He's able to scramble, get that first down, and get out of bounds with a minimal hit. Quarterbacks, successful, the best quarterbacks in college football today are ones that can move within the pocket. They can move. They can make second reaction plays. And that's what this is. He's second reaction, get going, get the first down, and get out of bounds without taking a huge hit. Now, the last clip that I'm going to show you is one kind of concern that I have, and one thing that I hope that Mark Whipple, Scott Frost, and the rest of the staff can help Thompson improve on, and that is his deep ball. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Casey Thompson doesn't have a weak arm, but he also doesn't have a cannon. And far too often, or all the time I should say, when he throws a deep ball, he has to just kind of put it up there, and he ends up putting the ball under a lot of air. As we see here, this ball is a blimp to the receiver. Now, it is for a touchdown. He does have that, some touch, maybe some accuracy to place the ball right there for his receiver to go make the catch. But too often, a ball like this is going to get picked. Or and there's other clips that I saw from his games against Arkansas, Rice, and Texas Tech, where he put way too much air under the ball, and that allowed defenders to go in and be able to break it up. It's hard to be successful as a downfield passer when you have to throw to a spot and put a ton of air under it. And a lot of times receivers who do this, they don't have that arm strength to drive the ball down the field. Now, I think Casey Thompson, based off of what I've seen, does have some arm strength that he can drive the ball down in situations. It's just he hasn't either been taught well or developed that skill yet. So I'm hoping under Mark Whipple, who likes to throw the ball deep, he's able to get Casey Thompson to drive the ball, to put a little bit more effort and zip behind it, because if this is how most of his deep balls are going to be in the Big 12, he's going to have interceptions. So that's my main concern with him. I think he throws the ball well enough in the shorter intermediate where he can drive the ball there and fit it into tight windows. It's just we need to clean up this deep ball, because far too often it's not touchdowns like this. It's the balls that are being too short, they're too long, or a defender's able to react to them and get their hand in to break up the pass. All right, so Nebraska finally got their transfer quarterback. There was lots of names that were out there, Miles Brennan, Spencer Rattler, Bo Nix, Caden Slovis, and I think a lot of people maybe wanted other players, and Casey Thompson ended up being the guy that Nebraska wanted. And I think, we may have wanted a guy like a Spencer Rattler or a Miles Brennan. Miles Brennan was the guy that I really wanted Nebraska to get. I think he had the biggest upside. But what we have to remember is when I look at transfer quarterbacks, I look at a couple of different things. I want to know, do they have the physical talent to throw the ball and to make plays? And what was their situation? Why are they leaving? If they just weren't very good and they left because another good quarterback came in, that's kind of a red flag. If they had a lot of injury issues, Miles Brennan had 2 injuries. Chubba Perry missed most of the year because of an injury. And so you have those questions or those concerns. The thing I like about Casey Thompson and his situation is he transferred because, in essence, a coaching change. He was at Texas under Tom Herman. That's who he was recruited by. Steve Sarkisian came in to be the coach, and yes, Casey Thompson lost out to Hudson Card and to start the season, but Thompson also then won that job back and kept it the rest of the year. But Sark had his quarterback all along. Like Quinn Ewers transferred from Ohio State. That's the guy that was originally committed to Texas out of high school. That's the guy that Sark wanted. And so he's going to be the starter. Casey Thompson saw the writing on the wall and said, hey, I played well last year, maybe not in elite level, but I played well enough to be the starter going into the 2022 season. But my new coach, who didn't recruit me, is bringing in this 5-star elite, one of the best rated prospects according to the recruiting services out there, to be our quarterback. And so he's like, I'm not going to be the quarterback, so he's going to transfer. And I think he goes into a good situation. I think he fits well in Mark Whipple's offense. I think he has a chance to have a good end of his career at Nebraska. And one thing we have to remember with transfer quarterbacks is a lot of these guys that have gone out to be huge hits in the transfer quarterback market, they're not ones that always are like, hey, this guy was a star at this school, and now he's coming here and he's going to be a star again. A lot of times they just didn't get a play. Justin Fields barely played at Georgia. Joe Burrow barely played at Ohio State. Baker Mayfield played a little bit at Texas Tech. Kyler Murray played just a little bit at Texas A&M. Now, I'm not going to lump Casey Thompson with those 4 NFL quarterbacks, 4 highly rated, highly drafted quarterbacks, but he's got a similar situation where he played and he's leaving his school for a similar type reason. So that's why I'm intrigued by Casey Thompson. That's why out of the remaining guys that are out there, he was the one that I wanted the most. Now, Nebraska has talked about taking 2 transfer quarterbacks, and I think with Casey Thompson in the fold, they still might be able to do that. We got the quarterback at Utah, Chubba Purdy. Those are 2 guys that have 4 years of eligibility remaining. Casey Thompson's got 2 with an extra COVID year. So you could bring in Thompson and say, hey, he's going to be our starter this year, or he's got the chance to start and potentially 1, maybe 2 years. Well, Chubba Purdy and I think it's Caselli, they got 4 years eligibility, so come in, sit for a year or so, develop. I don't know if you're going to get those guys to do that, but I think having Casey Thompson allows you to maybe continue to develop Harburg, bring it. You've got the quarterback that they just signed this past year. Maybe bring in another transfer quarterback next year, whatever it may be, but he buys you a little bit of time. And like I said, I think he fits this offense pretty well. All right, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed Casey Thompson in 8 plays. To get more stuff like this, make sure you subscribe to the channel. So hit that subscribe button, hit the bell for the notifications to get all my videos. While you're at it, follow me on social media. It's draft_Brian. Is my social media on all channels, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Make sure you're following me at draft_Brian. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. And until next time.